Everyone. Thank you, Hemender, and also thank you, Chiniben, for giving me this opportunity to take this class. So, this class, I wanted to take a topic called Marganasari Jivan and 35 virtues or the guns of Marganasari Jivan. So, 35 virtues or guns of Marganasari Jivan, they form the foundation of our Jain lifestyle. They basically form the basis of how we should live our life. So these 35 guns or virtues of Marganasari Jivan is described in great detail in our Shastra known as Yoga Shastra by Kalikal Sarvajna Hemchandracharya in the 12th century. I think you all might know Kalikal Sarvajna Hemchandracharya. He is considered as one of the greatest acharyas of this Kalikal, meaning the fifth ara of this Avsarpini. So in this Shastra, Yoga Shastra, Kalikal Sarvajna has written 10 shloks that describes the 35 guns of Marganasari Jivan. So those who are willing to walk on the path or the mark described by Bhagwan Mahavir is known as Marganasari Jiv. And in the Yoga Shastra, Kalikal Sarvajna says that it is very important and it's very essential that you follow all the 35 guns of the Marganasari Jivan in order to achieve Sadgati in your next bhav. So there are various sutras where we come across this Marganasari Jivan. So first example is of Jaiviraya Sutra. I think you all know the Jaiviraya Sutra. In the first gatha of Jaiviraya Sutra, we say Jaiviraya Jagaguru Hom Amam Tua Pavaho Bhavam Bhava Nivyo Magganasaya Ittha Phala Siddhi. So in this gatha we are asking, Hey Vitrak Paramatma, Hey Jagat Guru, Aapke Prabhav se we are asking for three things. We are asking for first is Bhav Nirved, second we are asking for Marganasari Jivan, and third we are asking for Ittha Phala Siddhi. So what is Bhav Nirved? Bhav Nirved means Sansar ki asarta, a feeling that this sansar is Dukhmay, Dukhrup and Dukhanubandhi. That means you have to feel that this sansar is worth living and a bhav of taking diksha. So that is called Bhav Nirved, and that is the first thing we are asking in Jaiviraya Sutra. The second thing we are asking is a Marganasari Jivan. We are asking, Hey Paramatma, please give us the marg, please provide us the path in which we can live our life in a Marganasari way. And the third thing we are asking the Jaiviraya Sutra is a Ittha Phala Siddhi. Ittha Phala Siddhi means moksha. Moksha is a Ishtafal. So these are the three things we are asking in Jaiviraya Sutra. Then second example is Namuttanam Sutra. In Namuttanam Sutra, the fifth gatha, we are asking Kirtankar Paramatma for five things. We are saying Abhay Dayanam, Chakku Dayanam, Magga Dayanam, Saran Dayanam and Bohi Dayanam. So Abhay Dayanam, what is Abhay Dayanam? Abhay Dayanam means Nirbhayata. And Chakku Dayanam means Dharma ki ruchi, interest in doing Dharma. Then third thing we are asking is Magga Dayanam, and Magga Dayanam is again Marganasari Jivan. The fourth thing we are asking is Bhagwan ka Sharan, and the fifth thing we are asking for Bodhi. Bodhi means Samyak Darshan. So these are the five things we are asking in the fifth gatha of Namuttanam Sutra. So now let's look at the Marganasari, the 35 guns of Marganasari Jivan. So I will go over each and every gun, and after each and every topic you are free to ask questions. So the first gun of a Marganasari Jivan and the most basic and the fundamental gun is Nyay Uparchit Dhan. What is Nyay Uparchit Dhan? So Nyay Uparchit Dhan, it basically says earning the money in moral, ethical and legal ways. Okay. So as a Sansari Jiv, as a Grahastha Jiv, it is very important and it's absolutely necessary and essential for us to make a living. So we have to earn our money. So here Kalikal Sarvajna says that you have to earn a money in moral way, ethical way and legal ways. So there are various ways you can earn money, right? You can do a business, you can be a businessman, you can do a job, you can work in service industry, you can be a doctor, you can be a politician, you can be a lawyer and so on and so forth. So for example, if you are a businessman, so the products or the services that you sell should be without any adulteration. And secondly, you should sell the products at the right price, especially to the poor people. Then you should not deceive or hide anything from customers. And if you have a business partner, you should not deceive your business partner. Then the employees that you hire, you should pay a decent wage as per the laws of the country. Similarly, if you are, for example, working, right, then you should make sure you respect your boss and at the same time you work ethically. Similarly, say for example, if you are a doctor, the responsibility increases. You have to make sure you do not overly charge the poor patients, you do not wrongly diagnose the diseases, and you do not perform any unnecessary tests just to earn more money. Then if you are a politician, you have to make sure that you work for the good of the people and you do not accept any bribes or any favorism. And if you are a lawyer, you have to make sure that you do not prosecute any innocent people and you do not defend any guilty or do not ask for excessive punishment for small crimes. So this all things falls under Nyaya Upachit Dhan. In short, it says that you have to earn the money in the right way as per the laws of the country. Okay. So this is the first and basic gun of Margansari Jivan. So any questions on this one? On the first gun? Okay. Then let's look at the second gun. The second gun is very, very important. It says Uchit Viva. This is related to the marriage. So in our Shastra, Kalikal Sarvagnya says that one should marry only within the same kul and one having the same kulachar. That means one having the same religious and cultural background. Now this is very, very important for the future of our Jain Dharma as well as imparting the Jain Sanskar in our kids. So what does this mean? This means that if you are a Jain, you are better off marrying a Jain person. If you are a vegetarian, it's much better you marry someone with the same vegetarian background. And furthermore, Kalikal Sarvagnya says that it's better that the person you marry have the similar lifestyle and similar cultural values. So for example, if you are a Sadachari, if you are doing lots of good for the people, then you should not marry a Durachari. If you are Gunwan, you should marry a Gunwan. If you are a Vidwan, you should not marry a Murk person. So that means, in short, the person's lifestyle should also be similar. And what this does is it avoids all the problems in your married life. If you marry someone with a totally different lifestyle, then your thinking will be different, your way of living will be different, and that will cause lots of friction in the marriage and lots of disagreements. So three things you have to remember. You have to marry someone in the same kul, someone having same cultural and religious values and background. So any questions here on the second one? Okay. Then let's move on to the third gun of Margansari Jivan. So third gun of Margansari Jivan is known as Sishta Prasansa. That means you have to respect a noble and a well-cultured people. So in our Shastra, it says there are two types of people that deserve our respect. One is known as Sajjan and second is known as Santajan. Okay, Sajjan and Santajan. So who are Sajjan? Sajjan people are the people who have got Sadgun and Sadachars in their life. And the Santajan are all the Sadhu Maharaj Sahib who has taken Panch Mahavrats and who are on the Moksha Marg. So these are the two type of people you should respect in your life. So wherever you come across the people with virtues like Satya, compassion, kindness, even Sahansilta, Daya, Vinay, Namrata, Shamta, all these guns, then you have to pay respect to those kind of people. And opposite to that, if you come across the people who are into, say, hunting, stealing, jeev hinsa, you should avoid those kind of people in your life. So in short, the people who are doing dharma aradhana, who are doing paropkar work, helping poor people, who are doing Gnyan and Kriya Rup Dharma should all be respected. And the basic reason for this is if you respect those people, then such guns will also come into you as well. So this is the third gun of Margansari Jivan. And you can stop me anywhere and you can ask if you have any questions. Okay. Then the fourth gun of Margansari Jivan is Satruta Tyag. Now this is very, very important gun. So in a Shastra, it is said that you should not have any dvesh. Dvesh means enmity or hatred with anyone in this life. You should develop Maitri Bhavana with all the Jews. Having a Jeev dvesh, even with a single Jeev in this life, is cause for Ananta Sansar. It causes Anantanumandi karma. So in order to have Maitri Bhavana with everyone in this life, Shastra has given us 4 bhavanas. And you might all know these 4 bhavanas. These 4 bhavanas are Maitri Bhavana, Pramod Bhavana, Karuna Bhavana and Madhyastha Bhavana. So let's look at these 4 bhavanas. So first is Maitri Bhavana. So how do you develop Maitri Bhavana with everyone, with all the Jews? So to develop Maitri Bhavana, you have to think that all the Jews, all the Atmas are Siddha Atmas. That means they are going to go to Moksha, and their Atmas are similar to your Atmas and they have got similar virtues. So that way you can develop a Maitri Bhav with everyone in this life. Then second is Pramod Bhavana. So whenever you see a person that is more gunwan than you, that has more virtues in their life than yours, then you have to feel happy. अंदर से एक आनंद आना चाहिए when you see a person who is doing more dharma aradhana than you, and that is called Pramod Bhavana. Then third bhavana is Karuna Bhavana. Karuna Bhavana is when you see a dukhi jeev, a jeev that is less fortunate than you, then you have to sympathize and you have to have Karuna Bhavana with that jeev, and you have to think that I have to do something to remove the dukh of this jeev, and that is basically a Karuna Bhavana. And the last bhavana is very, very important, is the Madhyastha Bhavana. So whenever you come across a person who is a Durachari, who is not agreeing with you, who is not agreeing with your principles or the Jain principles, who is speaking against your dharma or against your principles, in that case what should you do? In that case you have to have Madhyastha Bhavana. That means a bhavana of indifference or Upeksha Bhavana. You should not have dvesh against this kind of jeeves. So those are the 4 bhavanas you have to cultivate in your life, and ultimately you have to have Maitri Bhavana with all the jeeves in this life. So that is the 4th gun of Marganachari Jivan. So let's go to the 5th gun, and 5th gun is also very, very important, and it's known as Indriya Jay. That is 5 Indriyo ka samvar. That is control of the 5 senses. So we all know what are the 5 senses, right? The first sense is hearing, then seeing, taste, smell, touch, and so on and so forth, right? So those are the 5 senses. So in this, it says, Kalikas Sarvendra says that you have to live a life where you are able to control all your 5 senses. So for example, first is hearing. So here the Shastra says you should not hear ninda of others, right? जो किसी का निंदा पर निंदा कर रहा है, तो you have to stop hearing that. You should not hear things that will increase your rag or dvesh. So that all falls under control of hearing. Similarly, seeing, right? You should not see the things where there are excessive violence or जहाँ पे विकार उत्पन्न होते हो या काम राग उत्पन्न होते हो. So you should avoid seeing such things. Then उसके बाद है taste. Now taste is very, very important in our Jain Dharma. You should control your mind and control your rasnendriya, your taste. So here Kalikal Sarvanya says that you have to eat according to the Jain principles. So अपने Jain principles में जो भी लिखा है, जैसे रात्रि भोजन त्याग, 22 अभक्ष्य का त्याग, 32 types of कंदमूल का त्याग, व्यसन का त्याग, 4 महाविगईस का त्याग. So you should follow all these principles in life, and basically you are controlling your taste and you are controlling your mind. And similarly you are to for touch and smell. So basically it says that you have to control all your 5 senses, or by controlling the 5 senses you will be able to achieve better control of your mind, and by achieving better control of your mind you will be able to do dharma aradhana and dharma sadhana. So these are the steps. First is Indriya Jay, second is Man Nirvikalp Dasha, and then you can move forward in your dharma aradhana. So here this point is very important. So in our Shastra, there are a few small stories related to control of our senses. So there are 3 things that our Shastra says here. That first thing is शास्त्र के विरुद्ध बोलने का नहीं, मतलब उच्च सूत्र प्रणोपना नहीं करने का, मतलब you should not speak against the shastra. Second thing it says, you should not listen to things that are not advised in the shastra, or you should not listen to bad things, and you should not see bad things. Now sometimes it's difficult to avoid such things, but these are all nimit, and the thing is that you can avoid nimit as much as possible. So the first thing is you should not speak against the shastra, मतलब उच्च सूत्र प्रणोपना नहीं करने का. तो here you might all know about the story of Marichi. So Marichi, as you know, was Bhagwan Mahavir's Jiv, and he was a son of Bharat Chakravarti, and he was a pautra of Bhagwan Rishabdev. Now, as you all know, Marichi achieved Samyak Darshan in this bhav. So Marichi took Diksha under Bhagwan Rishabdev, but later he felt that the Diksha Jivan was very, very difficult. So then he left the Diksha Jivan and he became a Tridandi. So here in Tridandi, he adopted certain things, like he used to keep umbrella to protect against the sun. He used to wear chappal or sandals. He used to take bath, and so on and so forth. But however, in his heart, Marichi believed that what he was doing was wrong and Bhagwan Rishabdev's marg was right. So whoever will come to pay Vandan to Marichi, he will send them to Bhagwan Rishabdev and tell them to take Diksha under Bhagwan Rishabdev. But as time passed by, he was getting old. And then one day he thought that he has to have one Shishya who can take care of him. So one day a person named Kapil, he comes to Marichi and he listens to the Deshna of Marichi, and as before, Marichi says to Kapil that please go to Bhagwan Rishabdev, and Bhagwan Rishabdev's marg is right and you can take Diksha under Bhagwan Rishabdev. But Kapil insisted. Kapil said that I only want to take Diksha under you. And here Marichi thought that, okay, this is the right opportunity. I wanted to make a Shishya. I am getting old. So this is the right opportunity for me to make him a Shishya. So Kapil asks Marichi that why are you telling me to go to Bhagwan Rishabdev? Is your marg, is your path a wrong path? To which Marichi replies that, hey Kapil, Bhagwan Rishabdev's path is right and my path is also right. So here Marichi does Utsutra Prarupna. He speaks against the Shastra even though he knew that his marg was wrong. And because of this Utsutra Prarupna, uska sansar ek koda kodi sagarupam बढ़ जाता है. मतलब he was going to achieve moksha in that bhav, and now he is going to be achieving moksha as Bhagwan Mahavir. So uska sansar ek koda kodi sagarupam बढ़ जाता है, even for small Utsutra Pranupana. The thing to remember here is sometimes we think the path is small as per our thinking, but for Karma Satta it may not be true. For Karma Satta that particular path may be very, very big path. So that is something that you should always keep in mind. Then the second thing the Shastra says is Karat dekhne ka nahi. You should avoid seeing wrong things as much as possible. Sometimes it's unavoidable, but sometimes it is possible. So here you might all know the story of Lakshmana Sadhvi. So this story goes back 80 card chakras. So 80 Chauvises, it goes back 80 Chauvises. So there was a princess named Lakshmana, and she became a widow the same day she was married, and because of that she gets Vairagya and then she takes Diksha. So one day she was following her Diksha Achar and Diksha Jivan, and one day she sees a male and a female sparrow, a bird, sitting on a tree, and they were engaged in physical relationship. So as soon as she sees that, उसमें काम राग उत्पन्न होता है, and she thinks, why did Aryan Bhagwan condemn such an act of pleasure? And that's what she starts thinking, and suddenly she realizes that what she has thought is wrong. She has taken Diksha and she should not have such thoughts. So later on she decides to do Alochna or confession with Guru Maharaj Sahib and take Pratyakhan. So she goes and she decides to go to the Gurudev, and while she was walking towards Gurudev, She has another thought in mind. She thinks that if I tell Gurudev about my thought, then Gurudev will look down upon me. Gurudev will think that I am a faithless person, I do not have any devotion to the Jain Dharma, and that's why, I should definitely take Alochana, but I should not declare myself. So she reaches Gurudev, she does Vandan, and then she asks Gurudev that what if someone has such a thought. She does not say that she is having such a thought, but she says that what if someone else has such a thought, what should be the Alochana? To which Gurudev replies, the Alochana is just one Ambel Tap. So in her mind, she does one Ambel Tap, and but since she has done Maya and she has done Kapat, she has not disclosed herself, her path is not purified. And because of that, the Shastra says her Sansar and her Bhav Brahman increased by 80 choices, that is 80 car chakras, her Sansar increased. So she is going to go to moksha after 80 choices. And the Shastra says that if she had taken this Alochana with pure heart, without any Maya or Kapat, she would have gone to moksha the same bhav. So again, of course, she did Maya and Kapat, but the main nimit was she saw the wrong thing and she could have avoided seeing the wrong thing. So always avoid seeing wrong things. And the third thing is avoid hearing wrong things. And that is also very, very important. Again, sometimes you cannot avoid, but sometimes it is possible to avoid hearing wrong things. So here there is a small story again of Bhagwan Mahavir. And the 16th bhav of Bhagwan Mahavir, he is a prince known as Vishwabhuti. I think you might have heard about this story. So he is a prince Vishwabhuti and a nephew of a king Vishwanandi. Now King Vishwanandi also had a son known as Vishakanandi. So here Bhagwan Mahavir's Jiv Vishwabhuti and Vishakanandi, they were both cousin brothers. And the thing is that they did not like each other. They were always fighting and they did not like each other. So here Bhagwan Mahavir's Jiv Vishwanandi took Diksha and became a Jain Acharya. And he did lots of tapasya. He did ghor tapasya, and because of that his body became extremely thin like a stick. So one day Vishwabhuti goes to his hometown and of Rajgruhi, and here he meets his cousin brother Vishwak Nandi. So पुराने जो संस्कार थे वो जागृत होते हैं, because of seeing Vishwak Nandi. So here Vishwak Nandi mocks and make fun of Vishwabhuti. So Vishwak Nandi says that what happened to your body? All your energy is now gone, and he starts laughing. So here Vishwabhuti hears these words. He could have avoided meeting Vishwak Nandi, but he hears these words and becomes extremely angry. And then he takes a resolution, a niyana, what we call in our Shastra, that in the next birth will take revenge of Vishwak Nandi. So because of that, Bhagwan Mahavir's Jiv, uska sansar वापस बढ़ जाता है. He will have gone to moksha in the same bhav of Vishwabhuti, but uska sansar or bhav brahman वापस बढ़ जाता है. So basically, you have to avoid bad nimitz in your life, and that is all falls under control of your senses. So any questions, anyone? Okay. So the sixth and the seventh Margansari gun is Anishta Sthan, Tyag and Uchit Grah. So I will take both the guns together. So again, this is some of the important guns. And here Kalikal Sarvajna says that you should avoid living at places where there are natural calamities. So for example, if there are earthquakes or flooding, if there is a war going on, if there is terrorism or such things, you should not live at those places. Furthermore, Kalikal Sarvajna gives advice on what kind of house we should have. So here they say, Shastra says that we should live within our community. That means we should have house within the Jain community, and that helps bring the sanskar in our jivan and in our kids. Furthermore, it says the house that we live in should not be remote or should not be secluded. It should be within the other, it should be close by nearby houses. And also the house that we live in should not be an extremely busy place that the noise from outside comes inside the house and you cannot perform your daily task or you cannot perform your dharma aradhana. Furthermore, the house should not be extremely big or very small, because if the house is very big, then you will spend most of your time taking care of the house or cleaning the house instead of doing dharma aradhana. So these all things you should keep in mind while buying a house. Okay. Then moving forward, the eighth is Paap Ka Bhay or Paap Bhiruta. Now this is very important topic of Paap Bhiruta, and this is one of the lakshanas of Samyak Drashti Jeev. So Samyak Drashti Jeev is Paap Bhiru. Paap Bhiru means he is afraid of doing a paap. So if you know Vanditu Sutra, in Vanditu Sutra there is a gatha where it says Sambaditti Jeevo Javeru Param Samare Kinchi Apposyo Hoi Bando Jairam Na Didvam Dasam Kunahi. मीन्स सम्यक दृष्टि जीव वो कभी निर्ध्वंस रूप से पाप नहीं करता. मतलब whenever he is doing पाप उसके दिल में एक वेदना होती है. He is always repenting whenever he is doing पाप. So for example, भगवान की आज्ञा है, भगवान has given us आज्ञा. For example, रात्रि भोजन नहीं करने का, कंदमूल नहीं खाने का, वासी भोजन नहीं करने का. These are all भगवान्स आज्ञा, right? So in case you have to do all these things. You do ratri bhojan, you eat kanmul. So you have to do these things with a repentance in your heart. You should not do things with enjoyment or with happiness. You should always have repentance. You should repent कि भगवान ने ये आज्ञा दी है और मैं इसका पालन नहीं कर सकता हूँ, और उसमें तुमको वेदना होनी चाहिए. And that is a lakshan of samyak drashti jeev. If you do not have that in your life, that means you do not have samyak darshan. And as soon as you do a paap, उसकी आलोचना करनी चाहिए और उसको गुरु भगवान के यू हैव टू गो टू गुरु महाराज साहब एंड टेक द आलोचना एंड टेक द प्रायश्चित एंड उसका प्रतिक्रमण करना चाहिए. सो दिस इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट. यू हैव टू ऑलवेज रिमेंबर इन योर लाइफ कि पाप तो कभी कभी होता है. वी हैव टू ड्राइव कार, वी हैव टू गो टू ऑफिस, बट देन यू डू नॉट हैव टू बी हैप्पी इन दैट. यू हैव टू ऑलवेज रिपेंट दैट यू आर डूइंग जीव हिंसा एंड अदर पाप्स. ओके, सो एनी क्वेश्चंस ऑन दिस? Right. Yeah, that is very good point, Simran. So thing is that okay, for visiting purpose, for travel purpose, it's perfectly fine. But this is basically you should not have a house over there. That means you should not live there permanently. And the basic reason why Shastra says that is there is no one to help you when something happens. Usually when you have got good neighbors, when you are living within the community, there's always someone to help you when something wrong happens. When you are living secluded place, the police, the law enforcement, they are very far away, and by the time the crime is committed, there is no one to help you. And that is a basic reason why Shastra says that you should not live at extremely far away places, where remote and secluded places, and that is the main reason. Yeah, that is a very good point, Chiniben. Yeah, so I remember incidents where in India, especially when you live within the Jain community, and there is pollution, right? And if you do not go and do pratikraman, then there are so many people will come and ask you, where were you? Why didn't you come to do pratikraman? So this is what happens, right? Friends are there to help you, join and do dharma aradhana, and this only happens if you are living within your own community where they have got similar sanskar as you, and that motivates you to do dharma aradhana. Yeah, very important point. Yeah, especially in US, the marriage, when it comes to marriage, of course, the thinking here is much different. But if you think practically and if you think logically, in a marriage, both husband and wife has to support each other. If you want to move forward in dharma, then if both have very very different paths, then the support or emotional support and the support will not be there for dharma aradhana. So dharma में मजा कब आएगी करने में when both husband and wife are involved, this is something that you should always think um, while seeking someone for marriage. Okay. Yeah, certainly. Yeah, we can go into more details. The next is Desachar Palan, and this continues, or this is a point that continues with our discussion we are having. So Desachar Palan, it basically says that you do not you should follow the rules and regulations of a country, and you should not break any rules or regulations or laws that adversely affects your life. Now here you have to remember that we are living in the US, we have come from India, and in Desachar Palan you have to adopt the good of both the countries. So that means there are lots of good that India has to offer, and of course there are lots of good that US has to offer. So for example, the Indian culture, Indian food, Indian traditions, there are lots of virtues like Namrata and Vinay. We respect our parents, we respect our elders, even the Dan Dharma, even our food, all that offers lots of advantages over some of the US foods and US things. So you have to use your judgment here. You have to use your vivek to see what is the best, of India and what is the best of US, and you have to adopt the best path forward, and that is called Desachar Palan. So here I will give you an example. For example, Gandhiji, right? Gandhiji used to live outside India, and it is said that Gandhiji never left the Indian culture. He always followed the Indian Shistachar and Desachar Palan. So he always adopted what was good of the Indian culture and Indian traditions. So that's what you have to do here. You have to adopt what is good and what is best of both the countries, and you should not break any laws. Then 10th is Lokpriyata. Lokpriyata is fame, right? So here Shastra says that usually the Jain Shravaks, who are following the Jain Dharma, they are usually Lokpriya. They are usually famous. And they achieve this Lokpriyata because of their Paropkar. They always help the poor people. They always help the people in need. And because of their Paropkar and Dan Dharma, because of their generosity, and they do this generosity with a Niswart Bhav, because, without any self-interest or without any egos, and with full Namrata. And because of that, they are always Lokpriya. So in your life, you have to continue doing this as a Shravak. You have to always help others. You have to be generous. You have to help poor people. And you have to make sure that your ego, your name, or your self-interest does not come into picture. Okay, so that is very, very important point for Lokpriyata. Then another, the 11th point of Margarita Jivan is Uchit Vyay. Again, this is very important. It says that all our expenses should be within our limits. This becomes very important in US, in the system where we live with credit card, and sometimes we do not think and we accumulate so much debt more than we can afford. So here it says that you should always live within your limits or within your income. So here Shastra says that whatever money you earn should be divided into 4 pockets or either 5 pockets. So the first is savings, second is all the household expenses, third is medical expenses, fourth is educational expenses, and the 5th pocket is Dharma Aradhana. So in Shastra, in Yoga Shastra, Kalikal Sarvagnya says that at least 10% of your income should go back to the Dharma. So whatever money you are earning, you should give 10% back to the Dharma. Now there are various places, we call it Sat Kshetra Dan, where you can give the money or where you can do Dharma Aradhana. So for example, you can give money for building a temple or building a Jain facility or Jain infrastructure. You can give money for Anukampa, helping poor people, hospitals, seniors, all those stuff. Then you can give money in Jivdaya, helping the animals, all those stuff. Then you can give money for Vaiyavach, for Sadhu Bhagwans. Then you can also do Supatradan, for Sadhu Bhagwans. So there are so many places you can give money for Gnan Kshetra, you can give money for printing books, Dharma books, Shastra books, and so on and so forth. So these are known as Sat Kshetra Dan that you should always keep in mind, and minimum 10% of income should go back to Dharma Aradhana, and this is basically an investment in your punya, right? So this is known as Uchit Vyay. Then the next thing is Uchit Vyavhar. Now this is very important as well. So what is Uchit Vyavhar? Uchit Vyavhar is basically related to our dressing, the clothes we wear. So Shastra says we should wear right clothes at the right place. So for example, if you are coming to Derasa, you should wear appropriate clothes as per the customs of Derasa. And furthermore, Shastra says the dress should be Uchit, that is correct and simple. You should wear simple dresses. And furthermore, the Shastra says you should not wear any dresses जिससे किसी और के मन में विकार उत्पन्न हो, because you do not want to become nimit for someone else's asuk bhav. So this is something that is very important for you to remember, especially in US, that you should not become a nimit for someone else's asuk vichar or vikar किसी के मन में उत्पन्न हो. So try to wear decent dress, that's what it says, and that is called Uchit Vyavhar. Okay. And the 13th point is very, very important. I don't know how much time we have. probably 11:15, right? Do you want to continue or Chiniben? Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.